I must say it's great to have the countdown back in the repertoire, but it's definitely taking some adjustment because I'm used to having the hilarious late night grim bumper when I'm the one that's in charge of these things and I have to tweet the links. I'm used to having the boom boom, that deal. For some of you will be aware of what I'm talking about. Some of you won't. The countdown's a lot quicker. I don't know why I needed this to be kind of to be reminded of this. The countdown literally tells you how long it is, but nonetheless, I have been reminded of that. Let me do some tweeting here, folks. I hope everyone is well. Happy Thursday. Um, it's been a whole 27 hours or something since we last did this. I am back for a pre-show for the other show, which is, of course, the flagship over at Wrestle Purist. Myself, AO, Charlie, and Montgomery are going to be talking Dynamite. And I thought I would come on here and do the exact same thing for an hour or so, because why not? I had an hour to kill, right? I mean, why not? Let's do it. So let me just tweet this here. But, and a great friend reminded me of this before I went live, but today's been a very eventful day. And when I say that, you're kind of going through your memory. You're thinking, why? What happened today? What is this in reference to? It could be so many things. I am, of course, referencing that Ohio Valley Wrestling have acquired Mickie James. OV Dub back on the charge. At one point, for around 2 minutes, the confirmed shoot and I were considering an OVW grin along today. Until we realized that neither of us could do it. In fact, he knew all along he couldn't do it. He immediately said no. But when I sent the message, it seemed in my mind as a thing that I was going to be doing. It was not. It was impossible. It doesn't even make sense in my schedule. But there may be an OVW grin along ahead of us, I feel. I think this is possible. We're trying to work on Jack Crosby in our kind of project here. He was hoping to embrace this TNA reboot. And I got to be honest, if we're talking about Mickie James, talking about Al Snow, talking about OVW, feels like that's the way, right? If we're going to do this, do it right. So we shall see. But nonetheless, I've done my tweet. I've handled my business. It is 10:08 here in Gotham City. So let's catch up on the chat. Folks, if you have any questions, they don't necessarily have to be about Dynamite or the weekend. I simply had to have something to title this video. But if you do have any questions about those things or anything else, put them in the chat. I will circle back to them when I can. JJ, I hope you're well. It's not, in fact, the Stephen A program. Craps on taps. Hope you have a good night's sleep, mate. Indeed, big man is back. Biggest draw in wrestling. Well, I'm in the top 10 or so, I'd imagine. What calls all hell. Indeed. The political bits following me to my own channel is very unfortunate, I must say. This is a nice hat, I agree. It's nice. WCW hats are like one of the few wrestling things I own that I actually think are pretty neat, I must say. But I'm good, Ben. How are you, my friend? Hello to all that are in the house. Okay, this is true. I'm going to leave this on the chat. It is Ivu's birthday today. It is. I'm a big fan of old Ivu of Wrestle Purist, if that is his real name. All right. What do we got here? Let me catch up on some of these Dynamite opinions. Thoughts on the hook signal. And Care responded to the rumors that Bob O'Neill was requested for a signal of his own for his LNG appearances. He has requested that, but the signal itself is far too problematic for late night grid in the airwaves. I wouldn't let it happen. The hook signal is genuinely one of the funniest things that AEW have ever aired, and it was funny in that way. Like, it walked a very fine line, I thought, in that it was funny, but it just about worked to saying that was like actually cool too. It didn't completely undercut the moment. It actually was a pretty awesome moment. We'll get to that in a little more detail in a minute. But what made it funny, not so much the hook signal, it was more the fact that Joe sold it like it was actually like the bat signal. And he was like Two-Face or whoever the fuck, He's still like a stagger cell for it. It was glorious. Glorious scraps. Brian says, Claudio versus Hangman in the main event rocked, hated Starks and Sammy. and the whole brawl, and Adam Cole cutting the exact same promo was lame. Love Daly's place. Yeah, Daly's place was really, I think, the big story coming out of the episode. Honestly, to me, the highlights of the show were the world title segment and just Daly's Place's existence. I enjoyed most everything. Don't be wrong. I'm just saying those are the things that like I was left thinking about afterwards. Daly's Place is. I feel like they need to. I mean, you don't want to overdo it because that's why it was special. It'd been a while, but I don't know. It feels like you want to run that building like at least a couple times a year, right? That was really cool last night. It had a real particular feeling and vibe. It was very, very cool. So, as for these other things, I co-sign most, which we will get to. I'm going to see what everyone else is thinking in the chat in terms of what everyone was into. Any recent happenings in the TWs, bro? I'm so washed in that regard. I had I don't know if I talked about this on the air, but I had this game going for a bit where it was like I was at war, right? So whoever I picked on my roster, the alternate promotion would have someone of a similar. So for example, if I had Brett, they would have Shawn. If I had, I don't know, Flair, they'd have Hogan. You get the drift. And being me, I got so deep in this thing that it wasn't even fun anymore. You know, I'm sitting there sweating bullets about, you know, whether or not this Chavo Guerrero match is going to rate well. Just, just completely exhausted myself on a 2-month play, and I haven't gone back to it since. I don't know. I need some quirky idea to dig into. I need I need a narrative to pop me. You know, no recent TW pops. I don't think. Factual, lot indeed. I appreciate it. Is it true that the Manny star ratings will be appearing exclusively in the Bob server? Bro, the Manny star ratings were like incredibly controversial matter. Manny got banned from Wrestle Pure star ratings for a shoot. He got kicked out. He hasn't been in there since. He's finished. So they will not be in the Bob server. No, I don't think they're allowed for anywhere, honestly. Okay. This was very funny. Dukes did kill Bob. Okay, I'm very sorry to bring Mercedes up as a topic again, but if you were to predict when she shows up, when would it be? I think Revolution. Yeah, I think Revolution, based on kind of where the buzz is at right now. I'm not super locked in as a scoopster, as all of you know. I get almost everything wrong, but the traffic is pointing in that direction. Everyone is looking that way right now. It feels like there was a lot of buzz last week that she was going to be on Dynamite. Once that died down, it very briefly transferred to this Daily's Place thing, but most of that was fans being like, it's the home of the promotion. It sounds like it's going to be at Revolution to me, from what I've pieced together. So I think that's personally, it's kind of weird. I'm sure there's like I'm sure they want to build it up, but honestly, to me personally, I'd want to get her in the ball game as soon as possible. To me, the value of Mercedes, as great as it's going to be the moment when she debuts, the value of Mercedes is when she's actually in the game, right? When the bell rings. That's when the value really gets going. That's when you start having the matches you want to have, and you start changing that division. I'd be rushing to get it going. But if they want to take their time with it, I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure they've got something in mind. So we'll see how they do that rollout if it is Revolution. I agree. I think 2025, I think it's hard not to be optimistic, I think, about AEW right now, which is cool because there was a little spooky there in like, what would you say, October, November? Yeah. It's been a good start to the year. So only a couple of shows, obviously, but it's it feels like they've learned some positive lessons. It feels like it. TK implied he will run 2 Collision episodes at Dailies this year. God bless. Are you ready to walk with Elijah? At TNA Hard to Kill. He feels like a lock, doesn't he? Yeah. Love Ali buzz. You know, Ibu of Wrestle Purists, if that is his real name, he jumped me with that on Monday with the Ali being the Impact guy, and I kind of dismissed it. And immediately for dismissing it, it was a lot of folks who were very quick to tell me that I should not dismiss it. So it seems like there's a lot of buzz for that. I haven't heard anyone reputable report. It's just one of those things people are kind of talking about. But it'll be interesting. Hopefully it's not just Elijah. It might be. God bless. Shout out to Six Star, by the way. Made that beautiful Joe Hulbert Promotions graphic that I tweeted. If you haven't seen it, go to at Joe Hulbert. Yes, that's my name. Just the Joe Hulbert part, not the yes, that's my name. That's not my at. You'll see it's a very, very cool logo. Awesome. Yes. You go for ups and downs with these ridiculous games for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, you can ask about Braun Strowman anytime. I'm open for these ideas, you know. Will you be appearing on Manny's new radio show? No, that doesn't seem like my kind of vibe. Yeah, I co-sign this. It's one of those things where you feel bad saying it's funny because like it's a serious topic and the reason he's getting booed is serious, but at the same time, it was embarrassing enough that it did cross over into kind of being like shameless. It's kind of God, they actually is that transparent. They're playing his theme the whole time. Like Matt texts me that like Adrian even asked him like, why are they playing the music? Like it was even she didn't know anything about the Jericho story and why he's getting booed, but it was very apparent to her there was a reason they were doing that. It was very awkward, you know. So yeah, it was quite lame. What are your expectations for Deonna in AEW? I don't think she has super dynamic offense, nor does she have super explosive bumps. So I wonder if she struggles when she doesn't get 12-minute matches. I definitely think there are. I think your assessment is like pretty fair, and I say that as someone who's a pretty big fan. And I think there are reasons to be somewhat hesitant as to how she's going to translate to that setting and kind of, you know, how her role is going to change in a division that, generally speaking, has been kind of creatively underserved, right? And even if it's not creatively underserved, she's not going to be as focal a figure as she was for the Impact division. I think that just kind of is inevitable. My hope is I'm pretty optimistic because I think she's a very smart wrestler. And I think generally when someone is a thoughtful worker, they figure out ways around kind of limitations and such, or maybe it will take her a while to get comfortable. Maybe it won't be an immediate hit, but I do think she'll figure it out. Now, do I think she is, you know, the centerpiece of the division? No. I do think she's someone that is going to, you know, could add to a really healthy title scene, though. She's someone that I would certainly be looking to involve in the top tier of talent. Whether she can stick at that level or not, time will tell. I'm a pretty big fan. I think she does a good job of how she carries herself. I think that's a big part of the battle, honestly, on national TV. So I'm hopeful. I like Deonna quite a bit, but I think there's, you know, room to kind of be hesitant on those things for sure. Yeah, man, it's tough. You need to, when you're not playing TEW, you want to be playing TEW, and then when you start playing it, you're like, oh man, I need to get away from this thing. It's no good. Who's your rest of the year so far? One is Mo. Rest of the year so far. I haven't seen the Shingo match everyone's talking about this week, so I can't. Who would be my answer? I need a cool answer here for week 2 of the year. I guess I could just say Darby, right? I guess I could say Darby. The Takeshita match and then the tag last night, I guess. Feels kind of cowardly, though. Is there an obvious answer that people are going with right now? I don't know. Interesting. Chat, who we got? Rest of the year on January 11th. Who we got? Tell me. Once again, shout out to Six Star. Sam Joe last night. The absolute just presence of that fella last night was incredible, wasn't it? Like he leveled up all over again. It was glorious. It's kind of like really, I was having some fun with it on Twitter, but it is quite nuts. Like you look at the archetype you put Joe in. If you were to put Joe in like a category of wrestlers, look around him in that category and look how few of them can cut promo the way Samoa Joe can cut promo. Like that dude is so complete. It's wild, honestly. Awesome segment last night. I love Sting, but I'm excited to see Darby have more singles programs past Revolution. Yeah, I think I'm with you, and I actually also would say, and I mean this with absolute love. Everyone knows how much I adore the Stinger, but I'm definitely like, I can feel it in myself. I'm ready to let the big man go. You know, some of these retirements, it's like there's kind of that deal of you're dreading it when Sting's not going to be, when you know whenever wrestler's not going to be around. With Sting, it's like I think it's time for Sting. You know, I thought last night's match was a hoot, but it also was somewhat terrifying. I felt that maybe is a me thing. anyone who didn't have picture in picture and didn't have the like had commentary during the ad break, it got a little bit scary in that ad break. Jim Ross was terrified. In fact, it was. But he toughs it out, man. I mean, God bless him. That dude does not phone it in. He has every right to, but he does not. So, yeah, I co-sign the Darby Singers programs, and I'm also ready for Sting to get his farewell. I think it's time. So, all right. Nick Aldis is one of the best things on SmackDown right now. That segment with Roman where he was sitting. Yeah, it was awesome. I mentioned it briefly yesterday, Brian. Like, I think he's actually one of the best characters on wrestling television right now. It kind of feels like the correct role for him. Like always, this is what he always should have been doing, playing a kind of smarmy, very stern authority figure. It's hilariously a great fit. The aforementioned. Even with Wrestle Purist is in the house, he says, "Hello, Joe. Thoughts on Julia at WWE? Possible? What's the upside? Go fuck yourself, bro." for anyone who thinks that this piece of shit's asking me sincerely, he's having fun with the fact that we have both talked about this on Wrestle Purist in like 18 different segments. So of course, while I'm being nice about Ever Wrestle Purist on his birthday, I sent a nice tweet out earlier. He immediately comes and taunts me. There's just no reason for it. No reason at all. But nonetheless, I hope you've had a good day so far, mate. All right. What else have we got here? Look at this. Andrew the Giant's daughter popping huge for Randall Orton. That's what it's all about, brother. I'm attending Dynamite next week. My friends who hardly watch wrestling, I'm trying to get them on the Smojo train before he defends against the Hook. Oh, there's so much material. You go with Young, Killer, Sam Joe. You could just do like the Derby matches. Honestly, the Derby Joe matches are like some of the best graps to show non-wrestling fans because it's just like an ongoing, never-ending car crash, basically, right? Especially the third match. The third match is outrageous. Appreciate this. Have a hell of a time with the guys over at Purist for sure. Appreciate the love. It's been a game changer for me. Clearly, more people give a fuck about me than ever before, so I'm very thankful for it. Sean Rossat seemed to imply that Mercedes isn't cleared yet, according to New Japan, because they said her doing better in the Valley against Julia went out the window the moment she got her against Willow. Interesting. And that may be the delay we were kind of talking about there. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. It's always hard with Mercedes because, like, obviously Sean would know much better than I would, but it is very apparent that she keeps her stuff like close to the vest, as she should. So, yeah, it's interesting seeing all the different reports and such. The facial hair on the Bucks last night was crazy, man. You got to respect it. Got to respect it. I think Randy Orton might be on his way to having the most consistent run of his career. He's often stated in interviews he regrets wrestling at 70% because he knows he knew he would get by. Sorry. Well, I think the big thing with Randy is, and we've talked about this on Worldwide before, is he thinks that he's fought for a long time that the creative in WWE fucking sucked. I mean, he's not really been very shy about saying that to people that were around. Like he thought a lot of that stuff sucked, and I think if you look at what he did, I think it's pretty easy to figure out what he's referencing and when. So if he's at a point now where he's not only thankful to be around and wrestling because it looked like that was going to get taken from him, but also he might actually think the creative's good for the first time in a decade or so. So that could be a game changer for him. Yeah, hopefully, man, it'd be cool if he could. There's some big matches I want to see him have for sure. I'm intrigued what he's going to do at Mania. Very intrigued. As regards to Deanna, I agree. Establishing that, and also like the announcers need to do a great job. Not just need to really just do their job of need to make a point of like putting over her style and establishing her the things that she does specifically that makes her different and unique. Kind of train the audience in that way. Still collecting for the JHP figure fed. I am, but I'm very, very loose with it. Like I always said, it was never a thing for me. Like, I'm lucky in the sense that my personality does not force me to go like full sicko with it. I don't buy like everything. I very much will buy guys that I have a connection to or a moment or whatever it will be. So it is a big moment in the figure world for Usos fans because they've made a figure that looks like Jimmy Uso, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a whole like lore that the Usos figures always just look like Jay. Both of them look like Jay. This has been especially funny in recent, the last year or so, because obviously. So they've finally got a Jimmy Uso that looks like Jim Uso. So that made me restart the Fed for a moment there. But otherwise, it's pretty much slowed down. The AEW figures are very hard to. I mean, you can get them online, but for me, the fun is like actually getting, going in the store, and they're not in the stores here anymore, which is it's a shame. But you get what you get, I suppose. Imagine Randy Orton making a 10-minute entrance in the Tokyo Dome. Sounds like a dream, brother. Sounds like a dream. What's we got here? I hope Willow gets a sustained creative direction because she's delivered high on lackluster creative. Oh, I agree entirely. I think she should be one of the main priorities, honestly, right? I think when you talk about like ceiling, Willow is one of the main people to circle, I think. She's a wrestler who I think could actually break out of their as wrestling fans, we watch AEW, we enjoy AEW, but it feels like with some good marketing, the right push, the right branding, it feels like she could actually break out and make people AEW fans. It's a hard thing to do, especially with how honestly the way people just with media now, right? Like it's kind of difficult. It's not the 90s, but you get Willow Nightingale in front of the right people. I feel like she can make them fans. She's infectious. Her energy is awesome. So hopefully she has a good push on the wrestling show before long here. We've got some Takeshi to love, Dragon, Darby, with some rest of the year talk. Meech said CM Punk. Well, Obafemi. Every sensible part of me knows that Hangman or Swerve should win at Revolution, but the rest of me keeps screaming the big man is back. What a promo. It's tough, right? It's tough. It's we all know it should be a short reign, but he's so incredibly awesome. It's like, well, maybe he could keep it a little longer, Maybe just maybe. We'll see. Honestly, I know it's a cowardly, viewpoint on it, but it's like I'm so thrilled that he's getting this run at all that it's like playing with house money, Factual. This one is hard to beat, though. This one is hard to beat, I must say. Awesome shot. Even if the TV belt involved is no longer in action. I always liked that belt. I was like one of the only people who did. Isn't it crazy? Takeshita has 2 matches with Darby and he's immediately rejuvenated. That being said, Takeshita is my rest of the year. Speaking of Samoa Joe, right? That's kind of familiar story. That's Darby's job in the promotion, man. He's a kind of crash test dummy that you use to wake up guys that the pushes have failed them. That's his role in the promotion. So I'm not surprised, but my goodness, that singles match last week was something else. Incredible match. Sting as AEW GM. I'm kind of in on this idea too. I'm not as completely against the authority figure deal as a lot of people are. I think Sting could have fun with it, but I'm not sure he'd want to do the travel. And I think when he's done, he's probably going to be done. Some talk about MJF being out. I don't know anything about the MJF thing. Hopefully as well. Arriving late. Sorry if you've addressed this already. Sam Joe, good? I'll hang up and listen. Well, we've been kind of talking it around. We're debating it, honestly. We've been debating it. It's still kind of up in the air thus far. Triple Threat Revolution and Swerve pins Hangman to win the world title. I think he pins Joe, but yeah. I think the rest of that is right. I think him and Hangman then spin off into more singles matches. Joe is probably going away. That's the other factor of Joe's reign is he's got to do that show soon. Twisted Metal. Thank you. He has to go and do that show soon. So I've got a feeling that may also kind of accelerate their timeline. All the confirmed shooting I want is Joe to pop up on Smartless and Bateman have to pretend that he knows who he is. That's all that we've been looking for from the Twisted Metal project, but Arnett is yet to come through. Randy Orton and Nick Aldis having an NWA match at WrestleMania. Good God, the content we could get out of that 3 1/4. Beautiful. Top backup Hangman podcast moments. This is actually easy. There's one that is clear of anything else, and I send it to him pretty regularly. It's when I asked him to do the Mikey Ruckus version of Goldberg's theme, and he did that outrageous rendition. In fact, let me if I can find this. It's in here somewhere. I'm going to try and look for this so I can play it. It's a classic moment. I shouldn't really have many clips of myself on a podcast, but unfortunately, you get what you get, I suppose. All right, what else we got here? Appreciate you, brother. Back on the TNA discussion for a moment. When he does hard skill predictions, I'm going to do this, I promise. Hate to say it, but they've botched Thunder Rosa's return so far. She should be facing Deonna. Try and get the belt back. She never lost. Yeah, she very much feels slotted, right? Very much feels slotted. Which is a shame. I'm a fan, and it kind of feels like there's no one going to be able to find this. It's a shame. It kind of feels like there was a chance to do something interesting for her as a character, and instead she's just kind of put back in as a babyface on the roster. Yeah, so it's unfortunate. I'm not surprised that it took them so long to get to that point. It kind of feels like it wasn't a big priority. What guys you reckon in history would have benefited most legacy-wise from a Japan Indies run? Guys in history. What an interesting question. Very interesting. I'm trying to think of a guy who really stuck kind of, because or Indies makes it more complex, you know? Here's one that I think would be interesting. I'm going to throw this one out. And this may not make any sense to some of you. It might pop some of you. I don't know. If the Big Show Paul White existed in a different wrestling era, and he could have regularly gone to Japan the way that a very famous other giant once did, I think there would be a far greater mystique and kind of respect for his reputation and such than there is. I think that would be an interesting one, you know, because other guys I think of, like I think a lot of folks kind of, I think if Paul White could have worked Japan regularly as this kind of menacing monster working with the top Japanese stars of his day, I think that could have been pretty cool. So there's one I'll throw out. I'm sure there are other great answers. I'd like to see the chat answer some, and this is actually a really good question. Okay. Yeah, that Zach Wentz figure is never going to go, bro. It's in every store you go into. It's wild. Battle in the Valley, hard to kill. Collision and Battle of the Belts on Saturday. My God, Battle of the Belts too. It's a lot of grabs. It's a lot of grabs. All right. A person who wouldn't mind Joe getting the longest world title reign just despite Max. I think Joe would mind, but yeah, I get it. Tremendous. I hope you had fun, bro. It was a hell of a show watching from home. So, who do you think Riddle's mystery partner is? I have no clue. I don't know. I feel for them, whoever it is. Tough gig. Thank you, Tope Suicida. All right. If you were running AEW, how would you handle the Hardys? Give them their release or try to convince them to stay by getting them out of their Rampage verse? So was that someone? Okay, I'm genuinely asking here. It's been suggested to me, and I have suggested to others, that it's like their new bit because they're doing a new character as heels, I guess. I've seen some of this. I saw they did a heel promo on Rampage, very sort of heel promo. Do we think this is what it was? Was Jeff Hardy doing a bit? It's always important to ask whether or not someone was doing a bit. Either way, I don't know, man. It's kind of over, right? If we're being honest. I mean, it's pretty clear that Tony was intending to use them in a major way, and the way things went down with Jeff has kind of killed his interest. Now, I don't think I'm breaking news by saying that. So, I think it would be I think both parties were well served just sitting down and kind of reaching that conclusion and letting things go where they need to go. Hardys could still be, I don't think anyone's really rushing to see them wrestle, but if they're on a different roster, they would have more value just by default if they're not been a lot of star power around, So, yeah, I'm not sure. Doesn't feel like a relationship that needs to relive much longer, honestly. Yeah, it does seem like it's. Yeah, this is the thing. I thought it was like a TV thing also. I say all that to say that like that particular thing may not be a big deal. What's your boldest prediction for the Rumble? Other than Maven coming back, my boldest prediction. I'm trying to think of something truly funny that could happen. Sean Spears at 10 is not. It's not bold enough. I need Saint Bow. Who's out there that could come back and have very minimal impact? What about who's the big fella who worked with Gunter? Was it Shanky? Shanky? My bold prediction is that Shanky is going to come back and that Kevin Patrick is going to sell it like Dwayne The Rock Johnson just walked through the curtain. That's my prediction. Brian, take it to the bank. And if it wasn't Shanky that left, I apologize to Shanky. Need an update on confirmed sheet status in regards to the Revolution. Will indeed be flying to see the Bucks. Yeah, man, he's locked in. He's that the Bucks match has been kind of talked about a lot. In terms of that being the Sting destination. So I don't think either of us was particularly surprised. So I think he's pretty optimistic about it. Pretty optimistic. I don't know what this was in reference to, but agreed. Remember the early WrestleFurious podcast days where Monty called Ivu just Hollywood before he put his face on camera? Bro, I had to host some of them and it was like, you call him like Hangman? It was very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Give me 1 second, folks, so I can see. All right, I've got it, folks. I've got it. I've got the Bill Goldberg clip here. Let me email this and we'll play this on there. How long we got? Like 20 minutes. All right, I've got it, folks. Bear with me. Okay, what else we got in the chat before I talk about Dynamite some? Because I did title this AEW Dynamite. Folks, everyone's too fired up, man. We've got too much to talk about. It's not going on in the world of graps. Okay, I agree, Maven. I agree. Good call. Joe, it's been a while since I asked who's the current real world heavyweight champion. It's Joe. Definitely Joe. Joe is one of those guys who, no matter what the belt means or what the feud is or any of that stuff, if Joe has a belt, it's the real world style. Okay, hopefully that works. I tend to agree. I think Maven. He actually did a video about it. It's something that was already out there before, but he like auditioned to be a color commentator. He feels like someone that's going to show up, not necessarily doing it for them, but it feels like he may be like, TNA color commentator Maven. feels like we're in, that's in the ballpark. So we shall see. What else we got here? You going to any big WWE or AEW shows this year? Big on the WWE side, not really. I'm going to a house show in Cardiff, which I'm really excited for because anyone who knows the way that my brain works, that's like my ideal wrestling experience. Don't mind my clicking here. I'm just preparing video clips and such. Yeah, I went to the Paris house show last year, and that was like an absolute hoot. So I wanted to do another house show rather than doing, as great as it can be. The pay-per-view thing is not my favorite experience, unfortunately. AEW, I'm going to All In, which will be hilarious because inexplicably, I have found myself sitting on the floor. So I'm sure that'll be a ride. Not familiar with wrestling pre-2000s. Any specific recommendations? This is a great question, but if you follow up in the chat with this, I'll be able to do a better job, I promise. What are your who are your favorite wrestlers today? And then I'll be able to judge, because I could just, if I throw like Burt picks at you, then that's great for me, but you may not like them. So who are your favorite wrestlers today? And I'll be able to work backwards. Favorite play-by-play and analyst. Play-by-play is, I would say, honestly, any version of JR from like 1990 through what we're looking at, like 2005 or something. That'd be my one seed. Second, early 90s Shivani. Analyst, I'm a big Ventura fan. I think Jesse's the GOAT in that regard. He could be grating for sure. He has his faults, but I got Jesse, definitely. I wish this would work. It's really giving me a lot of hassle here for what's going to be a 30-second bit, but nonetheless, may have to just tweet it instead. Had an idea they're going to do Jinder versus Rock before Rock Roman. My God. could be Raw Rumble or a house show. Then on the bump, Jinder said, "I don't think it's the last time me and Rock will share a ring." That would be incredible because that match would be hysterical, honestly. Okay. What are they doing to Ricky having Champ lose to Sammy? I don't know. He didn't seem too thrilled about it, did he? It's fair to say. I'm watching some Prime Joe, and he's a solid promo, but it's such a bummer that neither the content nor voice are anywhere close to the level of his current business. Yeah, it's weird, right? He's like, I mean, it's not as with Scott Steiner, it's kind of tragic. Like he became an awesome character after he couldn't do anything. But Joe is definitely like a kind of quiet version of that for sure. I don't know if I can do it, unfortunately. I can't do the Berlin trip. I will be all in, as I said. I know you asked that before I answered. My apologies. Okay. Just noticed there's no Dynamite or Collision locations on their website for March 6th. No, maybe Boston. Maybe so. Maybe so. Tony Storms, did you do an armchair? Killed me yesterday. Don't think she should be champ, but the character's got a lot better. I agree. I think it's really funny. I'm like, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm not sure it should be the world champ, but it is a good bit. It's very funny. She's superb at it. To be absolutely fair. So yeah, I agree completely. Okay, what else we got here? I'm going to tweet this clip up, and I'm going to share it on the screen like a real pro, rather than try and add video clips to StreamYard and it like breaking my phone. So that's what we're going to do here. Hopefully, I tweet the right one, right? Right, we've got some favorite wrestlers here. We've got Gunther, Eddie Kingston, Dragon, and as a kid, Cena and Ray. Okay. See, this is important because, like, I feel like if I'd gone too far with like, oh shit, US graps, it would have been a mistake, and these favorites kind of suggest so. So I think based on those favorite wrestlers, you're probably best to veer towards the all-timers of Japan, I would say. With Dragon, you get like a, I think if you're a big Dragon fan, I do think it's worth kind of exploring some Ricky Steamboat, maybe try. Then again, it's very different. Yeah, US wise, that's kind of limited. I think if I was you, I would explore the very kind of in vogue right now, very hipster. Feel like I'm even saying it, I feel hipster, but I think the mid '90s All Japan would be what your list is telling me. That's what it's telling me. Now I could be completely wrong, but that's what it's telling me. With Danielson, I would recommend a side platter of maybe some Ricky Steamboat versus Ravishing Rick Rude, Beach Blast 92. I would recommend that as a side platter. But otherwise, maybe what you could do is, because sometimes doing the four pillars business can be daunting because everyone talks about it like they're experts on it. So don't, if you feel it's daunting, go through I've talked about this before, go through the lens of Stan Hansen. If you're a big Gunther fan, I think he'd pop you. Go Stan Hansen. Here's a couple of specific ones. Tell me what you think of these. If you got me on Twitter, tell me what you think. Stan Hansen versus Kawada, 92, I think, and Hansen Kobashi, I believe, in 93. It's one way or the other. It's either 92 for one of those or 93 for the others. But there's a July match and a February match. I always get confused which came first. Try those. I think that's a pretty good recipe for now. But tell me what you think. Okay. What else we got here? Joe, do you think we get a Shibata Tanahashi rematch at Forbidden Door? I don't know. Maybe. I'd be kind of hesitant, to be honest. I feel bad saying that, but poor Tanner is, he's feeling it physically. I'm not sure. Hopefully I'm wrong and it would be awesome. I'm not sure. Ricky did get pinned twice already, yes. I've never watched any of the old territories post Iron Claw working through some world-class championship wrestling. They had something going in Dallas. It's awesome, and it's aged really well, too. The production's aged really well. Yeah, I absolutely... World-class has aged better than most territories, honestly. Especially because a lot of the big matches are on TV. So, yeah. The discourse over the Bucks Sting was weird. The other time they were in the ring together, Sting no-sold double super kick from the Bucks, and it was one of the best moments of the year. Yeah, I mean, it was, but it was also like, you can kind of see it coming. People are just look, the Bucks are divisive, and they mean they mean very different things to different fans, basically, right? That's the most simple way to put it. When we hear that match is happening, we take it as like, oh, remember when they did the super kick spot? And other people take it very, very differently. So, yeah. Why did this not post? Okay. It shouldn't have posted. What's the most livid you've ever been at watching wrestling? It's gotta be some 2010s WWE business. Has to be. 2010s WWE. I'm trying to think of some real filth that's cropped up. I tell you, that Usos revival shit was pretty tough as a fan of both teams. I was really looking forward to them working together, and that was like. Thing is, I don't think I was livid by that point because I think I just kind of accepted that was, that was kind of where we were at. It was brutal, brutal, brutal stuff. Right, let me share this here. Good question though. Let me share this bullshit. Here we go. Joe Bing Bong. Yes, that's me. Where are we at? Right. Hopefully this sounds okay. Let me turn it up a little bit, not too much. I don't want to play on zero. This is an all-time great worldwide bit, in my opinion. Now seeing two versions of me with hats on, this is very uncomfortable for everyone, but I think it'll be worth it for this bit.
Okay, the Icons thing versus
hopefully everyone can hear this well.
Goldberg, and you hear the pop in the crowd, and then Bill Goldberg, and you get Taz kind of overacting, like, oh, wow, I mean, that's a blockbuster. Yeah, like, what Excalibur? Oh my God!
What's the Ruckus Goldberg theme sound like?
No. What's the tagline?
Finish the bit. What's the theme? Go.
Okay.
That is a personal favorite of mine, I must say. The yelling Goldberg is mine. I must say, I actually go back to that semi-regularly. It pops me. You turn Hangman heel, and what sort of heel should he be? I want to say no, but that swerve thing is getting really tough to navigate, man. He's so over. Like, Hangman's the babyface in a triple threat match, and the two heels are probably more over than him. And I don't mean that as a slight on him. That's how over those two dudes are. Like, it's crazy. So, if he's gonna be a heel, he should be a really nasty, resentful, spiteful heel. His physicality will translate really well to that. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, I was almost hesitant to say All Japan because, like, it's so at this point it's so like, everyone says All Japan, but Gunther and Eddie, it's like, well, that's where you gotta go, brother. What shit is worth watching for an ECW watch? Like, I want to watch all the shit worth watching. All the hit up Ibu of Wrestle Periods. I'm not the ECW man, unfortunately. I've only seen like bursts of all the top guys. Thoughts on Eric Dyer joining Bayern? Pop. Yeah, Tape's a much bigger Tottenham fan than I am. Went for a 92 binge a year or so back and loved it the first half of the year for the big two rules. Oh, yeah. The best stuff from WCW 92 is like some of my favorite graps ever. Like 92 War Games is like one of my favorite matches ever. Glorious. Dolph is the greatest mid-carder, WWE mid-carder of all time, in my opinion. Can't wait for his New Japan run. In terms of length of run, he's got to be up there. I mean, good lord, that was outrageous. I really like Taz when he's not doing bits with. Yeah, I agree. Taz is really good. I think him and Excalibur have kind of become. That has become a bit of a slight issue. I don't want to say issue because they're having fun ultimately. It pops when Nigel and Tony do it, but I do think they've both like ever so slightly dropped off. I must say. But I mean, if they're popping themselves, God bless. What does it matter? I can just turn the TV down if I really have to. They're fine. Yeah, the commentary hasn't aged well. Good call on World Class. Jokey ranked the LNG and their dislike of the Bucks. Bob likes them the least, because Bob's never even really watched. Like, Oracle's aware of the good stuff they've done. Bob has no interest in it. Bob's lost. Oracle, then it would be up. Then I would say confirm shoot. Then probably Tope Suicida. Actually, wait, Jack Crosby is after Bob. I always forget he's part of the team. I think you guys do too. Then Tope, probably then me, and then Chris and Dukes, I'd say, are the biggest fans on the, I would say. I've not spoke to Chris back for a while. I know Dukes is a bigger fan than me. Watched a little bit of All Japan, but haven't watched Steamboat. We'll watch and appreciate recommendations. All good, bro. Steamboat is, I said him for Danielson because he's such a great baby face. That Rude match I mentioned, the Flair matches goes without saying, but I understand if you don't watch Flair because I get it. But yeah, the Steamboat is all timer. What else we got here? I'm sorry, I'm trying to scroll here because this chat has been much more eventful than I thought it would be. I really do appreciate it, guys. The support on this channel has been insane considering. What do I call these, by the way? Because I'm going to retitle this. I feel bad calling it AEW Dynamite. Is there a good name we could have for these? I'm terrible at these things. The Confirmed Shoot did this for the late night grin. What can we call these hangouts? We need like a name that I can just title them without having to sweat bullets about what the fuck we're talking about. I don't know what we're going to talk about. You guys, you ask questions and I answer them best I can. What are we going to call these? Done some territory digging with the famed Crispy Drive, and I'm disgusted and uncomfortable by how awesome I'm finding Jerry Lawler. Look, bro. It is what it is, you know. It's like no one wants to say how good he was. No one really should say how good he was. But God Almighty, that dude he was an incredible pro wrestler. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, I'm now seeing the reactions to the Ibu clip. The Thank You Joe deal was kind of wild. This was uncomfortable for you guys too. Good. Everyone on camera doing impressions. All right. How did you connect with Monty and Ibu? This is actually very easy because he was a big fucking mark. Big old mark, bro. He was in Fightful live chats. You know, like trying to get me on board. There is absolutely a show where I buried Recipurious on Twitter. I was like, these fucking quote accounts with their pictures under the quotes, causing all the storm. I definitely did this on a show. I'm certain of it. And he started like putting me over. And obviously, if you want to become friends, we just put me over. It's pretty easy from there. So he started putting me over. Then we were talking like just kind of loosely in one of the all-time Hulbert moments, and I've done this to many people, but this was probably my best, I think. I actually at one point was working on getting Monty a gig at Fightful, but unfortunately quit before I could actually make that make that connection with any kind of anything that would make it stick. I reached out, extended the bridge, started building it, and then quit. And so that kind of, I think that may have ruined his chance slightly. So then when I quit, he kind of was talking about this Recipurious thing, and I thought he was fucking nuts and thought it was a bad idea. But it seemed like he wanted to try it, so I hopped on, and it's gone pretty well, I think, for the most part. When we first did a live show, a lot of the chat was just like the late night grin perverts. That's changed quite a lot. Now it's like it's a monster now, right? So we had like 5,000 people vote on those fucking awards. So it's been cool. Ibu was one of the people that Monty mentioned. There was like 4 people. I can't remember who the 4th was. That's my bad, but there was 4 people. It was Monty, myself, Ibu, someone else. And so we followed each other. I didn't really interact much with Ibu, but yeah, we started doing the shows through Monty. So that's how it all came to be. All right. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to scroll here. Chris is a bigger fan than Dukes. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to be polite too, but he's just trying my best here. Okay, my goodness, the chat is on fire tonight. Okay, I'm looking at what names we have here. Banter with Bert. Bert's Indie Run. Bing Bong's Banter. Okay, right, we got some options here. Bert Banter with Bing Bong, Hanging with Hulbert. Well, hold on. Hanging with Hulbert, Joey Bing Bong Q&A. Yeah, the shooting range was very good. Very, very good. 6 stars. You're my mother's third favorite podcast. Third? I listen to it in the car. She doesn't speak English, but she loves your voice. That's very kind. I'm behind P and Jamie. That's fine. I was going to say I almost got disrespectful there, you know? Okay, there's a lot of names here I'm seeing thrown my way. A lot of names. Big Talk with Bing Bong, the Hulbert Hangout. My God, calling it in the ring. Well, you guys you swung for the fences on this here. I appreciate it. Hello, Plethora. I hope you're well. What's Joeing on? Okay. All right, I'm going to go through these in a minute and we're going to have a serious vote. This is actually very important now because we've got to lock in. Is there a major difference between Fight and WrestlePurist? Yeah, there's a lot of them. WrestlePurist is fucking ECW. On WrestlePurist, I'm like the straight man. You know, I'm the level-headed one. It was not that way on Fightful. I don't mean that as a knock. Like Fightful are the reason that Monty even found me. So I'm just saying it's a very different like vibe, right? It's a very, very different thing. You did not have like Boris Johnson sending super chats on Fightful. Like they're completely different. Hello, Chris. Hope you're well, mate. Joe, in your opinion, who is wrestling's biggest overachiever? Mick Foley. Incredible talent, but Mick Foley becoming a shoot celebrity is incredible. It's wild, bro. Like serious. I mean, again, great talent. So I'm not saying it's not deserving, but look at the era he was in. Look at the guys around him, what they look like. Mick Foley. Mick Foley became a genuine pro-graps celebrity. Okay. True. It'd be very good, actually. All right. Yeah, but he should, bro. He should have a video essay. He should do all sorts of whole shit. You know, I'm always saying it to him, you know, but we do spend a lot of time just DMing like dipshits. So, you know, it is what it is. All right. I do agree with him, though. Hanging with Hulbert that's our duo show. So everyone note that down. All right, here's what we got. And then I'm going to do this TNA thing that was requested of me. All right. We have banter with Bert. Bert's indie run, while funny, I'm going to take out the running. We have Bing Bong's banter, which is really a spin-off. We have Bert banter. There's very variations on banter, as you can see. Hulbert's Corner, Howling with Hulbert. Howling with Hulbert. The Hulbert Hangout. Calling it in the ring. Joe's Corner 3. Go fuck yourself, Dukes. Right, I think we're looking at, it's got to be one of the banter variations, or it's going to be Howling with Hulbert. Banter with Bert. Look at this. Hanging with Hulbert just sounds like something that Conrad would have. All right. It seems like we're locking in here on one of these different banter variations. Now, are we doing banter with Bert? Bing Bong's banter? What are we thinking, folks? Let's lock in on this. Everyone who's here, there's 90 people here for some reason. And I'm asking, what's the choice? What are we saying? Because when we make this choice, there's no going back. All of the videos are going to be called this from that point moving forward. So, what are we thinking here? It seems like we're going with banter with Bert. It seems like to me. I don't know what the masses are saying. Silent M. The Hulbert House show. Hold up. Hold on a second, because that's layered. You got to like layered. You got Hulbert House show is very good. I mean, that's like actually on brand and funny. Banter with Bert does seem to be the league leader. Banter with Bert. All right. That's what we're saying, folks. I mean, I'm a man of the people here, you know. Dude, I do think Hulbert House Shadow might have crept in there at the end. That was very impressive. Okay. Oh, it's turning around now. Wow. Look at this. It's turning around, folks. Hulbert House Show. Can I do a poll on this fucking thing? Where do I... YouTube. That's what I'm on, right? Yep. Hulbert House Show, folks. I think we're the Hulbert House Show. Boom. That's layered too. That's my shit. You know, I'm the house show nerd. We could do Banter with Bert as like a spin-off. But I think Hulbert House Show's it. All right, locked in. This is now the Hulbert House Show. You're watching episode 1. We'll just title it Hulbert House Show, 111, whatever the fuck. Yeah, I think me saying the word banter a lot felt really uncomfortable anyway, to be honest. So I think it's for the best, to be honest. Yeah, all right. Let's do some predictions for the weekend's bullshit that was requested earlier, and then let's get out of here because I got to go do the Wrestle Purists with the Puritans over there on Wrestle Purists. All right. Steve Mack is on the pre-show. All right, here's what we got, folks. I'm going to run these matches down for you. Tell me what you think. Hard to kill. Rich Swann, Steve Mack on the pre-show. 2 former world's champions. Allegedly. Steve Mack is going to take it. Lock it in. Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers with Alicia Edwards versus Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian. God, Frankie found the chest. Didn't he find the TNA thing? What? He's on the pre-show? I thought we saved the fucking brand. All right, well, I'll take Frankie and Eric Young, the TNA originals. Trademark. Tommy Dreamer versus Crazy Steve. Go fuck yourself. ABC versus the Rascals versus Speedball Mountain. That is the team of Mike Bailey and Trent Seven for anyone who's got the police on the line. And the Grizzled Young Veterans. I assume the Grizzled Young Veterans win. I'm glad TNA are continuing the tradition of fatal 4-way tags. Definitely a thing we need to keep doing. Josh Alexander and Alex Hammerstone. I got a feeling this thing is going to rock. I think this match is going to be awesome. I think Hammerstone up. I think he's going to be one of the guys they build around with this new era. Give me Hammerstone. Giselle Shaw, Brookside, Fret, Steels, Edwards, and Danny Luna too. My God. Knockouts, Ultimate X match to determine the number 1 contender. Probably Danny Luna, right? I mean, that's the new fresh face, so that's where I assume you go. I assume. Hopefully that's good. Ultimate X, this should be cool. Oh. Dirty Dango versus PCO. PCO. Chris Sabin, Vikingo, and Kushida. This could steal the damn show. This thing could be a hoot and a half. I think Sabin gets the win. First show back with a name. I think Sabin. I think they like that kind of Motor City Machine Guns continuity. Speaking of such, I'll jump ahead and say I think Shelley beats Moose. I think even they know going back to Moose would be no. So I think Shelley and Sabin, Motor City Machine Guns are the champs, kicking off the new era. Trinity and Jordan Grace, I think, is kind of been spoiled by what we know of Trinity's situation, but she could easily just lose it on the TV after. They've done that a bunch in their history. So I'll take Jordan Grace nonetheless. After I've made that point, I'll just completely throw it out and say Jordan Grace is going to win. And that is Impact hard to kill. Now, the problem with that is over in Battle in the Valley, I should just say over in the Valley, there's a battle going on. Battle in the Valley 2024, meanwhile, has got Jesus wept. Battle in the Valley has got Ed Kingston versus Gabe Kidd, Shingo versus Mox, in a no DQ match and Okada and Ospreay. I mean, that's just no fair, is it? I mean, that's not right. They should have done that somewhere else. I mean, that's just not fair. There's not a match on that TNA show, I don't think, that I want to watch more than those top three. Eddie and Gabe Kidd, by the way, I'm not sure enough people saw it. Go watch their match on Strong a couple of years back. Incredible match. Yeah, Julia's wrestling Trish Adora. TJP and David Finlay, can't win them all. But good God. Outrageous. Okada and Ospreay are working the TNA TV after the taping that's on the night after this. Okay. There it is. Expert Gaming. You asked for it, brother. This is a good call, Will, about the cross streaming thing. I'm aware of it. I just don't know how it I need to figure out kind of the pros and cons, so to speak. Now that I'm a pro. So I should probably go, I guess. This has been fun. We now have a name for this, the Hulbert House Show, which is real fucking graps, and I'm almost certain with 6-star again on fire. I will probably not be back for the rest of the week, I don't think. I would like to do this grin along on Saturday, but I really need to put together a good squad because we're going to be there for a long time. That's like a whole block of graps, you know? So I'll see how it goes. I'll see how things pan out. Otherwise, next Sunday, there's a Royal Rumble grin along, not the Royal Rumble, we're doing a retro grin along next Sunday. Tuesday, the 20-something or other, there's a Grin Grappler Fit Finley episode. So those are the things that are ahead of us in the late night Grinverse. On Wrestle Purists, we've got the flagship here in about 20 minutes. Tomorrow, myself and Montgomery have got our 2-man show. So that's what's coming up. Hopefully you can join us. I appreciate everyone who joined me here. As I said earlier, the support on this channel has been crazy. We're only a couple of days in and we crossed like 200. So that was wild. Super, super cool. And I greatly, greatly appreciate it. So this has been the first Hulbert House Show. Hell of a time. A nice house indeed, 6-star says. So I would say keep grinning, but I keep forgetting that's not a thing I say here. So keep smiling and things of that nature. And have yourselves a great night, whether you're joining me over on the Wrestle Purists or not. Have a wonderful evening. Yeah. You can't even enjoy this outro. There is no outro. But people are here, and now they're going. So with that, goodbye, folks. I'll see you on Wrestle Purists, or maybe not. Night.